I came to the ashram in 1944 as a 2-year-old child. And my parents decided this was where they wanted to raise their children in complete freedom. My very early memories of the mother, I was probably 4 or 5 years old, was doing children's activities like rabbit race and sack race and little sports like that in the playground, where she would be standing at the finish line watching us closely. The other memory I have is when in the late 40s, mid to late 40s, she used to come down in front of what is the Samadhi now, the steps, and she'd have a silver plate and flowers in the plate. There'll be a small group around her and she would go around throwing flowers at individuals. And I recall at one time she suddenly turned towards me and threw the flower at me, which I caught. It was standing between Nirodha's door and where mother was standing. When I was 3 years old, my father asked mother that the family is asking to bring me to Hyderabad for the traditional hair cutting ceremony. And mother said, no, he does not need to go. Bring him up and I will cut his hair. So I got my first haircut from the mother. She's been growing up from then on. She's been a very integral part of my life. Everybody, all the children, adults that were there at that time. She always set an example. Remember, from the time the tennis ground was acquired, she played tennis. She resumed playing tennis at age 70 and played till she was 80. And in that period, there was a period of time that I was picking up her balls for her. I recall she would walk in. She never walked at a casual pace. She always walked like she was rushing to get somewhere. She participated and spent over 4 hours a day overseeing the physical education program. When she established the physical education and the Journal of Physical Education, the Bulletin as it is known, for the first issue, she wanted Aurobindo to write an essay. At that time, Aurobindo was completing Nirodha recounts, was completing the final revisions on Savitri. After mother reminded him a couple of times, he told Nirod, mother is waiting for me to provide her with this. I better stop and give her that essay, which was in the very first issue of the Bulletin. That in retrospect gives an idea of how important physical education and the body was for her and for their yoga. They've written profusely on the importance of the body in the evolutionary process. As Aurobindo said, man is not the last step in the evolution. They foresee a supramental species. And just like the chimpanzee had to change its body to house the mental consciousness, so also they said the body, human body, which is half animal, has to change to support the new supramental consciousness. And it is that for that reason that the mother, by example, spends so much time overseeing physical education from 4 or 5-year-olds to 60-year-olds. And Pranabda was instrumental in implementing her vision. She used to hold meditations only 1 hour a week compared to over 4 hours on physical education. They view that as the very foundation for the establishment of the new species. And she encouraged, by example, all of us to stay fit. She watched everything we did very closely. I recall one time I was doing the hop step jump, and I took off about 6 inches behind the line. And Arun Kumar measured it from the jump off, what should have been the jump off point. After he had finished measuring that, he asked him to measure from the spot I had taken off. So she watches that keenly. She knew I had not taken off from the right spot, but still she wanted to know how far I had actually jumped. Every time I won an event at first place, she would give me twice the amount of whatever she was distributing. When I was leaving Pondicherry in 1964 for advanced studies, for which she had given me blessings, the couple of days after that, when I next saw her, she told me, find a way to store cheese at room temperature. I had not quite decided what I was going to apply for, but she having said that, I started applying for a graduate program in plastic technology. I then subsequently got admission, and of the 3 places I got admission, I chose Chicago, which I told her about. And when I took the admission, which had come from the chemistry department of Illinois Institute of Technology, the Reserve Bank of India would not give me the foreign exchange, because they said it's come from the chemistry department. I can go to any Indian university and they can provide me foreign exchange. I subsequently looked at the catalog of the university, and they had one course in polymer chemistry in that department. So I told the Reserve Bank person that the degree in plastic technology is being provided by the chemistry department. He accepted that argument and gave us the funds I needed to travel. Once I got there and told them I'd come for this program in plastic technology, they were quite shocked, because they said never had such a program at the university, and they didn't know how I got admission. But they said, however, there is a professor who teaches one course in polymer chemistry. Maybe you can work with him for the research. So I spent 1 year in the chemistry department, after which the professor I was supposed to work with left to join another school. So I wrote to the mother saying, this is what happened, what should I do now? He said, I've been offered a position in the biology department with scholarship. What should I do? She says, yes, you should accept that. Ignore my comment. That was a passing comment, she said. That passing comment without which I would not have been able to leave India. Having been so much involved in performing in front of our gymnastics and athletics, as I was leaving, I had promised myself that I will stay as fit as the last time I had performed in front of her. So I have tried to keep that promise, and 14 years later, when we came for mother's 100th birth anniversary, I was allowed to perform in the playground gymnastics, floor exercises. And that was unusual for students who had left to be allowed to perform in the playground. That to me was her acknowledgement of what I was doing, and an added incentive to me to continue with that effort to keep my body as fit as when the last time I performed in front of her. And I have continued to do that since 1964. In 2018, we're living in Los Angeles and we're involved with this Aurobindo Center in Los Angeles. Hansa organized a retreat on the body, at which point, as we were collecting their works and their comments on the body, I realized how much was written on the body, and we started compiling and putting out a newsletter from our center, quoting their words, at the same time showing how the world is moving towards a more conscious effort on the body and good health. Giving examples of specific athletes, gymnasts, and also video clips of other speakers like Sri Ravi Shankar and Ramdev that were encouraging their followers to go to the gym. And you see a growing number of people, India and elsewhere, focused on health and body. As the first step, Mother says, it will be the prolongation of life. And we begin to see through science, technology, people are living longer life and striving to live a healthier life. So her work and her personal sacrifice of her own body till the very last days, she wanted to be stood up and made to walk. In 1932, she's writing a letter to her son Andre. She says that she's busy, but she's now very happy that she can walk inside the ashram courtyard and not on the streets anymore. Her prayer from June 15, 1912, and I'm paraphrasing, she's addressing the Lord. She says, many have come and sought union with thee and left this earth. She is thy creation. And she, again paraphrasing, she uses the word as a cowardly act. That's how she strongly felt that purpose of her birth and their birth was transfiguration of this earth and humanity. So my goal now is to compile as much of their writings on this subject and make more and more people aware of the unique and absolutely revolutionary part of their yoga. Without the body, as she says, making the body open to the psychic being makes the work of the psychic being much easier. She made these comments after seeing the Russian gymnasts perform in 1958. She says when they have accomplished remarkable with an enlightened human will, but if they had this slight spark of the spirit, they could do wonders. And we see how much progress has been made in all fields of sports, and the endurance and the capacity of performing what would have been viewed as impossible being done today. So her efforts are almost being imposed on the world consciously or unconsciously. People are becoming more and more aware of the body and health. I hope to continue collecting her and their words on the subject and hopefully have a compilation that gets published with a photo with the tennis rackets on the cover. Sadhana of the body. It's been a unique journey, and she has been a constant guide. Good part of it I was unconscious of her guidance, but it becomes more and more clear every day. I had my knee replacement surgeries done last year, and most surgeons, including the one who did my surgery, expected a 4 to 6 months recovery, which is typical before you can go play tennis doubles. I recovered from my left knee, which I had done first, in 7 weeks, 5 weeks after my right knee. And after that second surgery, she came in my dream. I was standing at the courtyard. She came by, held my hand, and started walking me. So my recovery, the clear example of our direct action on the body. It requires a little effort. The results are incredible. I'm extremely grateful that I grew up from very childhood in her presence and hopefully become more and more conscious instrument of her work.